All right. Welcome back, Shawn. We're starting round two. See, what we had done, just so my viewers know, is we taped this free-flowing conversation that we had, and then we stopped the recording, figuring we were done. And then afterward, Shawn just started spitting off some sound bites that were just too good to pass up. So I said, let's do a round two. So first of all, let me go back, Shawn, because I asked you, how are you making this happen? You got a wife, you got 3 kids, and you're spending 3 months on Belize. That didn't come out in part one. So how did you guys make that happen? What happened with your job and COVID-19 and all that kind of stuff? That was really interesting.
Yeah. So circling back to how we even ended up here, right? When I was looking to buy in January last year, I was working full time as an IT guy, and I was doing some real estate investing. So I have that background in Canada, where I have some rental properties and stuff like that. And what ended up happening was, as soon as COVID hit, the pandemic started, and I got a call from the company I was working for, and they laid me off like right away, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so I didn't work for all of 2020 essentially. And then what I did was, like, I went back and I reevaluated, okay, like, what have my investments done for me, right? So I'd purchased some assets and I had created some cash flow. I had lost my job, so I need to budget, right? So I went and I looked at my budget and I said, okay, like, this is the cash flow coming in, this is the cash flow going out. And I realized that I was in a situation where if we didn't live beyond our means, we were okay. And so what I did was I went and I, kind of allocated certain money for certain things, where I put some money aside for more real estate investments. And then we lived off of the excess income that we had all of last year. And I started investing in some other things. So I invested a little bit in stocks. And the stock market did great last year. I invested in cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency has done great. It's not a lot, like, I'm investing small amounts, but I'm a big firm believer, and I know we're talking about Belize here, but we're also talking about investing, right? And I'm a firm believer that money that's left in your account, in just a regular savings account, is dead money or lazy money, right? So you can either call it one or the other, but it's lazy money because it's not working for you, right? So I'm a firm believer that any money that you have should not be sitting in a savings account. It should be invested into something, whether that's land in Belize, stock market, cryptocurrency, gold. Just, it should be invested in something, and it shouldn't be sitting there. And that's because it goes down in value. It depreciates in value because of inflation.
Yeah.
So I always try to invest. I always try to make sure that my money's working for me. It's not being lazy. And and so the whole point of all of this was that I realized that I didn't necessarily need to work, as long as I invested properly and budgeted and allocated my money correctly. That's how we were able to come down here. So I'm not working, my wife's not working, and we are living off of real estate investments. And that kind of pivots into the next thing that we were just about to talk about. Do you want to go into that? How I became inspired to invest?
Yeah, no. So before we go into that, so tell us about you're also closing on a condo in Florida.
Oh, did I lose you?
Oh, hang on. You'll come back. You there? Are you back? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So before we go there, you're buying a condo in Florida.
Yes.
So tell me briefly about how you're doing that. You're from Canada, you're sitting in Belize, and you're closing on this condo in a few days.
Yes, yeah. So I started doing some research on, and the reason I invest here is because I love palm trees. I love beautiful weather. I come from Canada, where it's freezing cold, and like, I'm not happy when I go outside and my skin hurts because the wind is like hurting my skin. That doesn't bring me joy. So I try to find places that are warm, that I can go to and vacation, whatever. And the purchase of Belize, it's kind of what's created this like different mentality and mindset of what investing really is and what investing can become. And I got over that hurdle by investing in Belize, and because of that, I ended up putting an offer in on a condo in Panama City Beach, Florida. I've never been to Panama City Beach, Florida. but I just figured that it seemed like it was a good place to invest because I ran the numbers, I did my due diligence, and I saw that Airbnb rental rates were really good. And what I did was I bought the lowest priced condo in the entire market. So I reached out to agents and I said, bring me the lowest priced condo on the market and I'll put an offer in. So I did that basically from Belize. I'm closing on a condo in Florida from Belize as a Canadian.
That is awesome. So just kind of let me just kind of like wrap up what we've talked about so far. So COVID hit 2020. You had bought one property in Belize at that point. You then lose your job. So now you have no job due to COVID. And so between then, fast forward, 9 or 10 months, and now you have 10 or 12 properties in Belize, plus you're buying a condo in Florida, and you and your wife are sitting there in Belize enjoying the island for 3 months.
Yes, it sounds like a dream. And honestly, I'm so grateful. I really am. I'm so grateful because I know that this opportunity isn't something that everybody can do, but it's not that not everybody can do it. It's just that you don't know how to get there and you don't know what you don't know, right? But anybody listening to this can do it if they just talk to the right people who have done it, right? And that's all it is. Like, I'm no different from anybody else. I just put in a lot of work. I do a lot of research, and I always talk to people at network, and I'm always just trying to grow, right? I'm trying to grow myself as an individual, personally, my mindset, my health. I'm always trying to grow. I'm always trying to better myself, and I'm not competing with anybody. I just compete against myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Well, let's go on to Belize. How did you get started in Belize anyway? Like, we talked about this before, but it's been quite a while. So how did you even find it like on the radar? Because some people have never even heard of Belize.
Yeah, so that came from basically traveling to different countries. So I traveled, when I was 20 years old and I'd saved up all my pennies, I did my first trip to Cuba, and then I went with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. So we go to Cuba, and then I tried Mexico, and I tried a couple other places in the Caribbean. We did some cruises and stuff like that, where island hopping, and I really fell in love with the Caribbean and with beaches and palm trees, and so I started doing some research, and I think I found I think my Google search ended up being, what country can I buy property in as a Canadian legally? And Belize was one of the places that came up. And then I realized the things I didn't know, like that taxes were super cheap. There's no capital gains on property. You can buy as a Canadian or an American and own it outright, and you can pass it down to your children. It's not owned by the government or leased. It's not a leasehold. It's a freehold title. And they speak English. They speak English and they speak Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, you're good. If you speak English, you're good too. Right? And they speak Creole. So if you speak Creole, then you're good too. Or three. Yeah, so it's just, so I ended up coming across that through a Google search. And then from Google, I ended up meeting you.
Oh, good for me.
Yeah, it's been a blessing though. It really has been a blessing. And I think what we were kind of just alluding to before we hopped on to the second part was that you're the reason for my inspiration, Dennis, and I'm so grateful for you, because I wouldn't have done anything that I've done here if I hadn't met you, and if I hadn't done my first purchase through you, because that's what gave me the motivation to actually continue forward and to really pursue what my dream was after I finished purchasing that first one, because it was so scary. Getting over that first purchase was what catapulted me and allowed me to be like, okay, I can buy one after another, and I'm not scared anymore, right? And everything turned out really great. I actually just went to the tax department. I sent you a picture of that. I was over at the town council here at the center of town, and I went and paid all my property taxes. It was so easy, and it was like $80 per property. So super easy. And yeah, it was great. And everybody's so friendly here. Everybody waves. Everybody says hello. It's so nice.
Awesome. I know what you mean, Shawn, because I talked, but when I bought my first property in Belize, this is going back 2009, 2010. I had no idea why I was buying it. I had no plans. I knew I wasn't going to probably build on it, and I didn't know what it would do as far as appreciation. But after that first purchase, you sort of like then your focus goes to real estate. Then you're like, okay, well, I have one. That was pretty easy. What could I add now as a second or third one? And then it just snowballs from there. And now all of a sudden, because you're in the game, because now that's where your focus is. You don't have to buy like right away, but when a deal pops up, you got the funds, you can pull the trigger on it. And that's what a lot of people are doing right now. So for example, I have clients right now, money's in hand. They said, this is what I'm looking for. This is my price point. Here's my money. Now just show me the property that I should buy. And then I'm ready to pull the trigger. So right now you see my YouTube channel, I post all my listings on YouTube, gives everybody the same advantage. And those people that are ready, they can pull the trigger. If they're not ready, they just kind of hang out, wait for a few months or a few years, wait till they're ready. But because that's where their focus is, they make it a reality.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there are opportunities that come up, and the good opportunities, they go quick. I actually, the first time I experienced it was about a month ago. Somebody brought me 2 lots that were like very well priced in the Grand Belize Estates subdivision. Mm-hmm. And I put an offer for full asking price. The first day that it came to me, I didn't get it. Somebody else got both of them, and they offered a little bit more than what they were asking.
Oh, that might have been me. Sorry.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know who bought them, but it was a good deal, and they went like super, super quick. And that's kind of what's creating that awareness now, where I'm like, okay, there is opportunities, but when you see the opportunity, you need to jump on it, right? And it is what it is, and real estate is changing here. Especially in the last year that I've been investing, I've seen it change right before my eyes with the prices and what you're getting for what you're paying, and some of the asking prices. Like, I've been driving around here, and like there's some lots that are for sale here that are $1 million, and if you can buy something for some of the prices that you post on your channel, like some of those are steals.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm a lot more aware of it. Being on the island now, I really am a lot more aware of it. When I was looking at prices, I'm like, maybe I can get a better deal. You always think that, right? You're always like, oh, maybe I can get a better deal if I just talk to somebody else. But I'm really realizing now that I'm more aware of what the prices are. So when something comes up that's like $40,000-$60,000, and you're thinking, oh, well, I saw something else that was like a little bit cheaper. It's $40,000-$60,000 for a reason, and that's probably a really good price. It's probably going to be worth a lot more in the next 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I've talked to some locals and stuff, and like I was telling you, some of the prices that I bought stuff, they were like, you got lucky that you bought it last year, because that was like a COVID.
Yeah.
It was a COVID special because people were scared.
Right.
So it was a little bit of a different real estate market last year, and the market has definitely changed. But so one of the things that I did want to chat about quickly before we end this one was that there's different ways that you can invest here, or different strategies that you can use. So you don't have to land bank necessarily, like where you're just buying it and then holding it and you're not going to do anything. There's so many different things that you can do with the land here. But one of the inspirations that I had was from you, Dennis, because the first time that I reached out to you, are you okay with me telling you the
sure.
15. Okay. So the first time that I reached out, I had asked, like, do you own this lot or whatever? And you actually were very open and with me, and you said, you know what, Shawn, I started investing here a long time ago, and I have 15 mortgages. So that means that you're holding land that you've mortgaged and sold to somebody else with interest. So you've become the bank essentially on island real estate or island land. And that was what created that like awareness and that epiphany for me that pushed me to buy so much. So the reason I'm buying is because I know that no matter what, there is an exit strategy. Yeah. So no matter what, there is an exit strategy, and there is a way that you can sell it. It just depends, how do you want to sell it? How long do you want to hold on to it? What do you want to do with the land? Do you want to build a beautiful house? Do you want to build something commercial on there? Do you want to, build, like, buy more lots side by side and expand and maybe build something even bigger? Like, there's so many things that you can do. But also for your exit strategy, if you decide not to construct and build something, you can sell that to somebody, and you might think, oh, well, somebody that most people don't have $100,000 or $200,000 sitting around in their bank. They don't need to, because you can sell or finance it the same way that you've done, and you've helped other people by doing that, right? You've bought land and you've sold it, and you're helping people immensely. And so that's, for me, I'm always looking for a win-win scenario. And so with this was a win-win, because I knew that I can exit if I need to, but at the same time, I can also help somebody else who wants to live that dream and maybe buy some island real estate.
Right.
So it definitely is a win-win, and you're the source of inspiration for that. So I thank you for that.
In fact, so when we started doing business together, I had 15 mortgages at the time. Of course, I had a lot more property. But since then, I think this year I've added like 35. So everybody knows my blue folder. I show this on the screen all the time. These are my mortgages. And I think I'm up to 50 or 55 mortgages that I personally hold. Plus I own a lot more beachfront, off-beach property on the island. So like you, I've gone all in. I mean, this is the time to go all in on Belize. You know, I've always believed in it, you know, but this year, I think like you, for example, I wasn't able to travel this year. And Steph and I spent a lot of money on traveling, usually each year, right? I was forced to sit here and look at real estate. And the more I looked, the more I bought. And the more I had money because I wasn't traveling. So I just took everything that I would have spent on traveling and poured it back into my investments. And I'm like you, I'm 100% all in on the island. Like there is, people say, you know, when did you buy your last property? I'm like, today is what? Today is April 6th, Tuesday. I bought my last property yesterday morning at 8:00. So, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. And I'm in the same boat as you. Like I'm trying to find more stuff. I want to grow my portfolio here. I want to continue investing here. And it gives me a reason to live that dream, right? To live the dream of doing what I'm passionate about. And that to me is really enjoying life. I'm passionate about enjoying life, and this goes hand in hand with that.
Awesome, Shawn. Well, hey, listen, I do have another Zoom call. I have a client calling me in about 5 minutes. So one more thing, show us that view one more time, man.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me see if I can get the beach here. Can you see that? It's a little bit cloudy today, but it's beautiful. It's still beautiful.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful, man. Awesome.
It's still a beautiful day.
Awesome. Well, hey, say hello to the family for us, and hopefully Steph and I will see you guys down there in June.
Awesome. I look forward to it. Have a great day.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.